Okay, WWE Extreme Rules just ended, give or take about 10 to 15 minutes or so ago. I gotta warn you, my phone is probably going to go off at some point here. I have it on mute, so it'll just vibrate, but still, the Texas A&M Alabama game is not yet over, so there'll probably be an update flashing through there. Anyway, very weird show to start things off. They didn't have a kickoff show match again. Also, there were audio syncing problems very early on. And then, towards the end of the kickoff show, they seem to imply that the first match was going to be the Extreme Rules match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, but it wasn't. Instead, it was the Donnybrook match between the Brolin Brutes and Imperium. So, yeah, why did they say that? Yeah, it's like, they said in 10 minutes, like literally with about 10 minutes to go in the kickoff show, they said, in 10 minutes, we're going to see these two, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan, going at it for the SmackDown Women's Championship in an Extreme Rules. And then, no, wait, that isn't what we got. Like, I can understand cards subject to change, but then, you know, maybe make sure it's solidified for 10 minutes before the show, guys. Anyway, we did open up with the Donnybrook match. The Brolin Brutes versus Imperium. Very, very hard. This was basically a street fight. Tornado tag street fight, basically. They fought around a whole bunch. Pete Dunne hit a big enziguri. No, I'm not calling him Butch. The shillelaghs of the Brolin Brutes came into play a lot of bit. Unfortunately, they came into play in the hands of Imperium. Imperium destroyed a bar set with a picture of Grandpa Sheamus on there. Walter, I don't call him Gunther, hit a back suplex on Sheamus into the bar. Ridge Holland hit his kind of double suplex maneuver on Kaiser and Vinci. But then the Imperium team came back and hit the Imperial Destroyer on Holland to the outside of the ring. Walter, like I said, again, big brawling. Eventually, the high point was Sheamus revived from out under the wreckage of the bar. Pete Dunne hit a moonsault off some stacked beer kegs. And, you know, they got back into it. You know, Sheamus hit the clubbing blows. He went for the brogue kick, but then Kaiser interrupted with a shillelagh hit. Walter hit a shillelagh-aided lariat. Sheamus kicked out at 2. He went for, I believe, the top rope splash. And it was then that Holland and Dunne interfered to break up the pin. Kaiser and Vinci interfered again to break up another pinfall attempt. They got to the outside. Eventually, Sheamus hit the razor's edge on Walter, sending him through the announce table, and then nailed Vinci with the brogue kick for the 3 count and the victory. Definitely a good street fight. It's probably one of the better street fight matches I've seen. They've played the weapons in right. They played the stunts in right. Definitely had some high impact spots. The only problem is I think there were a few points where it looked like guys were kind of just wandering around the ring waiting for something to happen. So I don't know how entirely they clicked onto it, but yeah, it definitely got you invested in the show very early on. After that, the next match is the Extreme Rules match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. Right off the bat, Morgan brought a bat to the ring. Basically, you know, she tried to swing it at Rousey, but at that point, Rousey got Morgan in kind of a cross-face choke maneuver. Rousey, again, abstained from using the bat when she had the chance. Tangled Morgan up in the ring apron, but that enabled Morgan to actually get a fire extinguisher out from under the ring apron and temporarily blind Rousey. Rousey did attack with the bat. She then attacked with the black belt she had around her karate gi, or judo gi to be more precise, sorry. She went for a triangle choke after tying Morgan up in the ropes. Morgan fought back a bunch of times. She got Rousey with the bat or sent her into the post with a chair. At one point, though, she did mount a chair up in the corner, and they were trying to do like a whip into the chair, but it fell out of place, and they had to think of something on the fly. So she hit like kind of this code breaker-like maneuver a couple of times. Eventually, Morgan set up a table in the ring, went up, hit a senton on Rousey through the table, but that enabled Rousey to get into position to do first a triangle choke. She couldn't quite get it to do it without almost being in a pinning predicament, though, so she modified it into a biceps crusher, and Liv Morgan passed out. So Ronda Rousey is now SmackDown Women's Champion again. And, this match, like I said, also kind of had the same problem of, waiting for things to happen. Like, someone was out of place in somewhere because we had people standing, waiting, trying to, talk each other into the other point of the match to do the big spot. I mean, the big spots were at least big enough to be memorable. But also, again, I don't like the idea of Rousey being champion again. Like, we've told that story. Have Liv win. Have her move on to fight someone else. Let's, save Rousey for Mania. I mean, I know you're going to do Rousey Lynch at Mania as a proper one-on-one match. Save it for then. You don't have to have it be a title match. You could do something else. And it just, again, it kind of feels a little flat to me. After that, it's the strap match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Right off the bat, Kross refused to put on the strap, which obviously prevents the start of the match from happening. It's then that Scarlett interfered, which allowed Karrion to jump McIntyre. They brawled in the crowd, which the match is still not started at this point, as Kross has yet to put the strap on. Eventually, though, McIntyre hit a backbreaker on the ring apron and then tied the strap around Kross to properly start the match. Scarlett interfered again, allowing Kross to pull McIntyre into the ring post. Kross hit it's kind of a, not quite a hammerlock DDT, but like a hammerlock flatliner into the announce table. McIntyre came back with a big spine buster. He hit the future shock DDT, went for the Claymore. Scarlett interfered again, sprayed McIntyre with some police strength pepper spray, and that temporarily blinded him long enough for Kross to hit the cross hammer for the 3 count of the victory. Yeah, this match I don't think was that good, unfortunately. It's sort of the inherent problem. It's not, at least it wasn't the strap match where you have to go around and touch the corners, because that was just irritating. Just make an ordinary match with the strap, but still, there's only so much you can do with it. It's like, there was one cool spot in there that I thought was really funny, where both men were holding had handfuls of the strap, or were basically just whipping each other simultaneously, and you could hear the cracks and everything, but that was really about it. There wasn't too much else to this match, and like I said, it took like 4 times Scarlett interfering to finally turn the tide and have something happen. It just, like I said, kind of felt very meh. Okay, our next match is the ladder match for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair against Bayley. The rest of Damage Control were not at ringside during the entrance. Obviously, Bianca Belair didn't come out with anyone because her partners, Asuka and Alexa Bliss, got jumped on Raw, so they are considered out. Now, you'd think this would lead to something, but unfortunately it really didn't. Right off the bat, both women hit a crossbody on each other. Bayley whipped Belair into a ladder. At one point, they actually broken a ladder. Like, they broke the support attachment bits, and they basically broke it into 2 halves and sort of fought with those for a while. Belair stopped Bayley, slammed Bayley into a ladder and hit her handspring moonsault. Bayley mounted a ladder up from the ring steps to the barricade and hit a flying elbow on that. Belair, like I said, dropped a broken ladder onto Bayley's back. At one point, Bayley cut her lip really bad because it was bleeding like all around here. After that, it looked Belair managed to just hit the KOD, and that allowed Damage Control to hit the ring, Dakota Kai and Io Sky to hit the ring. At which point, Belair hit a double KOD on both of them, but that enabled Bayley to hit the Rose Plant. Is it the Rose Plant or the Rose Planter? She hit the Rose Plant, and Looked like she was going to climb up and get out of the get the championship, but then like they tried to do the idea of Bailey pinning Belair with the ladder, basically, you know, underneath it, so she couldn't get out. But it's like, unfortunately, Belair just isn't tall enough to look like she's adequately stuck under the ladder. And it's like, you could just like wriggle a little bit and be out. But instead, they had her do sort of the bench press of the ladder over. And eventually, again, Bailey grabbed the broken ladder from before, tried to hit Belair with it, but she caught Bailey, hit the KOD on the broken ladder piece, and then climbed the ladder to grab the championship and win. This match was really good. They managed to do some new things with the ladder match that I don't think had been possible before. Like, I don't think I've seen, and I don't think I've seen the idea of the the ladder being intentionally broken, and not like in the you missed it and it now warped in some spot type maneuver. So there was a little bit of that worked really well. And like I said, the double KOD, somehow fighting off three people, did kind of work. I did think when, like I said, the rest of Damage Control hit the ring that, oh, this is going to be how they bring back Sasha and Naomi, and they didn't. So, again, that's probably the one real drawback to that match. Anyway, our next match is the I Quit match between Finn Balor and Edge. Early on, Balor hit a drop kick to Edge's supposedly injured knee, locked on a figure four. Balor hit a sling blade on the outside of the ring, but then Edge fought back and drove him through the barricade. They fought up in the crowd. Edge somehow got a hockey stick from, I have no idea, and attacked Balor and put him in the Glasgow Smile crossface. Edge threw Balor into a concrete walkway overhang. And then Balor came back, he attacked with a chair. He locked on kind of a sitting octopus stretch. Edge fought back, got a chair again, and it's at this point the rest of Judgment Day started hitting the ring. Obviously, it's Dominic and Damian Priest. They set up a spot where Edge speared Balor onto both of them as they were on the outside of the ring. But then when he got up back into the ring to set up something, Rhea Ripley came up and locked him up with, grabbed a pair of handcuffs and handcuffed Edge to the ring ropes and began beating him down. Rey Mysterio hit the ring after that, managed to put up a good fight, but then got, stomped out. And it's then that Beth Phoenix arrived. She attacked Balor with a kendo stick. She attacked Ripley just long enough to wrangle the key to the handcuffs from her. She freed Edge. Edge speared Balor 3 times, but then Ripley sucker punched Phoenix with some brass knucks. And then Balor hit 3 double stomps. Edge refused to quit, but then they threatened to hit Beth with a concerto. And that was enough to get him to say, I quit. And, of course, they hit Beth with the concerto anyway. And then there's the serious, we got to get Beth out of the ring, sit on a stretcher. Don't know if, given the events of the last week in professional sports and concussions, it's such a good idea to be homaging that so quickly. But, again, like they had to do something to have Judgment Day win because Judgment Day isn't that threatening a faction. Like, they barely ever win when they're like, they sometimes win on pay-per-view, but then they're like, since they kicked Edge out, like, they have been very spotty at best. And it's like, if you want them to be a threat, you have to book them like they're a threat. It was the same problem I had when you had, say, the Riot Squad running around. They were always told, you're telling us they're a threat, but they always lose on the big shows, so they're not that much of a threat. So, again, I think hopefully this helps build up the heel contingent a little bit better on Raw than it was before. Yeah, the phone eventually did go off. I don't know if you heard it there or not, but I just needed to check a couple quick things. Anyway, this moves on to our main event, the Fight Pit match between Matt Riddle and Seth frickin' Rollins. Right away, you got to give Rollins credit with the RVD-inspired tights that he had to the ring. Riddle kicked Rollins into the cage. He had a big spine buster. Rollins hit kind of this sort of maneuver where Riddle he threw Rollins into the cage again, or no. He locked on a triangle lock, but he was a little too vicious in it and was pounding Rollins' head into the mat, and so Daniel Cormier, the special referee, broke that up. Rollins poked Riddle's eye, then tossed him into the cage. Again, got broken up by the referee. Rollins hit kind of a springboard frog splash off of the cage onto Riddle. Riddle rolled out of a Peruvian necktie and hit his RKO. Rollins blocked a second RKO and hit the stomp. At this point, Cormier was a little slow on the count all of a sudden. Rollins got angry and climbed all the way up to the platform on the cage. If you don't know what the fight pit is, it's sort of an octagon. It's not quite the octagon-like structure. It's still a standard ring, shape. But then they have these platforms up on top of the cage, just a little bit for people to stand on. And it's at this point they point out that any maneuvers that are up there won't really count as anything because any submission or unconscious knockout has to happen in the ring, which then begs the reason as to why there's a platform. If it's not going to count, the phone went off again. Anyway, but they got up on the platform and they fought. Riddle did a choke with one of the support chains. Seth Rollins hit a pedigree, but then Riddle came back and hit an RKO. That caused Rollins to fall in the ring. So that enabled Riddle to hit a Broton off of the platform to the ring. At this point, Riddle went for a triangle. Rollins kind of fought out of it a couple times, rolled through. But then Riddle just maintained the hold, and eventually Rollins had no other choice but to tap out. So Riddle wins what was a very good match. It actually seemed very evocative of a lot of MMA fighting, obviously, except for the, power bomb into the maneuver. Yeah, obviously, I know in UFC at least, you're not allowed to use the cage as any sort of springboard. So, yeah, I know it's not exactly that, but it had enough of an MMA feel to it that it had a unique air of authenticity. Again, the phone's going off. Anyway, Riddle celebrates, he goes up the ramp, and it's then that the lights go out. And immediately everyone knows what's going on. Yes, we did have a lot of White Rabbit vignettes throughout the kickoff show and the regular broadcast. In fact, when this happened, Cole was confused. He thought the feed had somehow been cut. He was like, "Are we live? Are we live?" But yeah, of course, everyone's got their phones out to be the Fireflies. We see spotlights popping up at various points in the arena. We see Huskus the Pigman, Mercy the Buzzard. I forget who the rabbit was named. We see the rabbit. We see Abby the witch. And it then kind of fades to black. We then see we hear a warped version of the Firefly Funhouse theme. We see a destroyed version of the Firefly Funhouse set with an old TV, and up on there is a new mask for Bray Wyatt. The Fiend mask actually did show up on the announce table out of nowhere, and then the Fiend briefly popped up in the crowd too. But yeah, this is not the Fiend. This is an entirely different thing because Bray then comes out holding a lantern. It says the whole thing about the what was it about the rabbit? Who devoured the rabbit? Who killed the rabbit? You did. And then he comes out again. He's just kind of back to being Bray Wyatt again. He's holding a lantern. I believe he said, "I'm back." I don't know. The crowd was going so bonkers that I couldn't hear him, and he blew the lantern out, and that's how the show ended. Okay. I mean, overall, this was a real solid show, real good moments. Not really much in the way of a stinker match, just, the strap match I thought was very dull. The I Quit match had some good moments. The women's ladder match was great. The women's Extreme Rules match was alright enough. The Donnybrook match was very entertaining. So, overall, very good. Not really a lot of slow parts. There was a goofy segment with The Miz backstage with Gritty, the Philadelphia Flyers hockey mascot. And you think like, oh, it's going to be Dexter Lumis, but no. Dexter Lumis just jumped The Miz from behind and choked him out. And then walked off with Gritty. I guess, to marry him now. Still, like I said, other than that, the only problem is, again, we have these shows are so padded out, they don't really need to be. Like, I know the reason is because if you're just subscribed to, not the free version of Peacock, but the ad-supported $5 tier of Peacock, you know, they're playing ads during those parts, but still, it's like, you know, I gotta sit through the same 3 to 4 vignettes. Could we maybe get some new ones for that, please? Just, eh. Well, and again, like I said early on, there were some audio sync issues where it's like things were playing out about 4 to 5 seconds than they were on screen. Like, I had to back out twice just to get it to sync back up properly, but yeah, again, that's probably more of a minor nitpick. And in case you were wondering, if you watched my Madden video, or my, for the predictions for tomorrow, or, well, you get the idea, the Week 5 predictions video, I went on a bit of a spiel about how my smart TV was not connected to the internet anymore, and yeah, that never really improved, so I have a new TV. That's what happened. Yeah, and just before I have to start a big house-sitting gig coming up here, so anyway, like I said, the show itself, it gets a B. I don't know if I could quite push it up to A. There were some parts, like I said, were just kind of felt a little dull. And a little too padded out in some spots. Just, I wish it was a little bit tighter, like, end the thing at 10 o'clock here, not, 10:10. I did like the Wyatt reveal. I did like a lot of the parts there. But, yeah, other than that, it was a solid show. It was enjoyable. Okay, so I believe the next, well, in all likelihood, the next video is going to be the Week 6 predictions. I already have selected games for that because I have a house-sitting gig, like I said. The next video after that is going to be Halloween Ends. I'll be watching that on Peacock as well. After that, I believe, we got to have Cassius Andor, or Star Wars Andor. We got to have a Star Wars Andor update, and She-Hulk as well. So see you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTime4Cat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.